outfielder you've been waiting for all offseason. They made a trade today. It's happening. 2023 World Series. Here we come.
Eric, it's Bligh Madris. They didn't sign Nico Goodrum. They've already tried that. Okay, I saw his first career hit was great as a Pirate, but this guy's been on like 4 teams. Maybe this means Yuli's not coming back. Let's talk about it.
Alvarez, it's a high drive, center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner, fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. Find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can they find you when you're drooling over the newest Astros outfielder?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros. And we've got someone behind the scenes that we'll reveal later on that has come on to the show and is going to become one, I guess, our producer, I guess you could say. He's somewhat of a local celebrity. I'll just tell you, his first name is Mark. We'll give you the rest later, but he's in the background, and I just want to thank him for that intro that he hooked us up with. So yeah, we changed things up a little bit in 2023. We got a lot of things to talk about. Will Yuli be back? This new outfielder, Corey Julks, does this, disrupt his path to the majors? So who is this episode brought to you? Who is our title sponsor today, Eric?
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. It's a new year. You made new resolutions, so part of your resolutions needs to be listening to the Locked On Astros podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Check us out. So let's go ahead and get to the big news of the day. And the Astros go ahead and trade for Bligh Madris. And this is somebody that a lot of people are like, who? This is a guy that on December 21st, the Detroit Tigers, DFA'd for assignment. And he was already DFA'd by the Rays, and he was already traded or DFA'd last year by the Pirates. So he's this is his 4th team in a matter of a year, but he is a left-handed bat. He does, he could offer some potential for the Astros as a depth option, but he's not going to be the guy that's going to come in and save the day for the Astros. He does have a major league home run, and I just want to go and pull up the picture real quick. And so you see, he does play right field. He does play first base. He does twice for 2 innings. He did play center field.
Well, there you go. See, Eric has done the research. Producer Mark, throw up his spray chart there with the field. He is a big time pull hitter left field. You'll see the field. There you go. So he hits 58% of the baseballs to right field. So maybe the shift being banned this year, Eric, will be something that helps this young man. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot under his resume, and this is someone that they bring in. Here's the deal: there's a competition for center field and for more time in left field and for utility, but they bring in a guy that doesn't necessarily challenge Hensley or Myers or Dubon, because those are the guys they're going to go with. So maybe this is a chess move a little bit. Like, we're bringing a guy to challenge. You've got to really earn your job, but I don't know. And you did at him on Twitter, so I can't say too much about him because then he won't come on the show. But the the problem with this signing, with a lot of reactions out there, is people have been like, where's the big signing? I'm like, we had the big signing. We re-signed Montero, we re-signed Brantley, and we brought in Jose Abreu. Those are big signings. But people
Right.
want a Rodon. They want a, well, maybe not a Correa now, but you get my drift. But I don't I don't know what their strategy is. I don't know what their strategy is, but I think I might be onto something. Thank you, Jay, for recognizing that. I think I'm onto something. They bring in competition, but he's not necessarily a threat. And if he turns out to be something special, then you found a diamond in the rough.
Well, they had 2 roster spots open. Now the 40-man roster is at 40. So now, 39. So they have 1 roster spot available. So we're going to talk in a little bit about catching. Do they need to go get a catcher, a backup catcher, somebody that can just do something behind a plate or something, or are you going to go with the young guys? But let's say that they need something before spring training. Madris is a guy that they can just let go of again. All they gave up for was a little bit of cash. Do we know how much it is? I'm pretty sure it's not $50. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more, like in maybe like 20,000 or maybe less. I don't know. It wasn't that much. But what the Astros did was they knew that they probably wouldn't get this guy if he went through waivers, or and because they're at the bottom of the waiver. So they said, "Hey, Tigers, we want to go ahead and trade for this guy." So they see some potential in this guy. And the Astros are pretty good at finding guys that nobody really wants, and they become maybe not stars, but they become serviceable. So I think that's the case that we can see here. I wouldn't expect him to be on opening day roster. I think the Astros have a lot of depth at the outfield position, especially with Pedro Leon waiting. And you mentioned Corey Jolks earlier, and
Corey
there's
Jolks,
Durden, and
yeah,
there's a whole bunch of people there. But this is
they
just another guy just to have there. And he's a left-handed hitter. The Astros like the left-handed outfielders.
yeah, they do. And so I'm kind of bummed that I didn't do it now on this, because I didn't realize he hit 53% of his baseballs, or 58% of his baseballs, to right field. He's probably going to be a good pull hitter.
Right.
Cash considerations is the real MVP in this trade. That's right. Someone sent me a picture of a guy. Someone made an old Donruss rated rookie card, and it was this guy that said cash considerations outfield, and it's this guy with this big chain around his neck going like, I'm like, who is cash consideration? Is that someone's name? Like, but this is a type of move. This is where I tell Astros fans this. You can come up with all these theories of why the Astros don't go out and do these long deals. I would just say evidence is one. Carlos Correa. I mean, the teams look very seriously at these physicals. And look, the Rangers, they're taking a huge risk on Jacob deGrom, a
Right.
huge risk, because they don't know if he's going to be healthy all season. And all these other teams that have signed these massive deals, the other team, Eric, that I think is doing something where the Astros are in like the third or fourth or fifth year of this, like, well, I guess sixth year, because, 6 in a row at ALCS. But the wave, I was talking to someone yesterday. I don't know if the wave's going to continue to grow or if it's going to crest after this season, where the Braves, they have a wave that I think is starting. They're going to be doing a run that's similar to the Astros in the National League, with locking up, 5 or 6 players till 2028,
Right.
getting these young players with tons of talent early. And so you've got other teams that are out there trying to do some things that the Astros are doing, but what the Astros aren't doing is they're not signing these long-term deals. So the question now remains, are the Astros going to make Kyle Tucker an offer at some point now before spring training, or after the season's over, or mid-season? Like, are they going to do that? There has been talk that the Astros have been trying to work something out with Framber, trying to work something out with Javier, and also with Kyle Tucker. Now, I don't know how concrete those conversations are, but that's kind of the rumors going around on the street, that those are the 3 guys they want to lock up. So, Eric, my question to you is this. If they lock up those three guys, do the Astros keep their championship window open? I think even longer, because I think if that happens, I think Altuve and Bregman also stay to team-friendly contracts. What do you think? You think those three guys are the three keys to this sustained success?
I would think so. I think Madris is going to be a star for the Houston Astros. I mean, he still has two minor league options, and he walks a lot and doesn't strike out a lot. So I think he's going to be a star for the Houston Astros. So when Kyle Tucker leaves, he's going to just step into right field and take over for him. But in all seriousness, I do think that that they have a better chance of locking up the pitchers in that situation. But I don't know if the Astros are going to be able to reach a deal with Kyle Tucker very easily, because he sees what's out there. He sees all that crazy money being thrown away around just like it's raining money. And he's going to be like, I want my money. I know I'm a good player. And you know what he's going to do this year? He's going to go out and bet on himself that he's going to just get the job done. And that's what I think the Astros should have done earlier, is kind of bet a little bit more money to try to get Kyle Tucker to stay here. And let's go ahead and talk about Bet Online, because this episode is brought to you by Bet Online.
That's right. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends of every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to the national championship game, okay? Basketball. The University of Houston Cougars have been number one. They are down to number 3. I think they were at number 2, and number 1 lost. So maybe they're back in the top hunt. Is this the team that Calvin Sampson finally gets that national title that U of H missed out on back in the Phi Slamma Jamma days? Well, let me tell you, we've got it all at betonline.net. So if you love sports, podcasts that you can't even find those at BetOnline, we're always the fastest and the easiest way to get your betting info. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
All right, so I know that we kind of ended talking about Kyle Tucker, and I think Kyle Tucker is going to see what he does during the season. But if the Astros are smart, they see what type of money is being thrown around. And I think that if you're looking at overall, I think that they could probably find a way to meet in the middle and try to work out a deal. I mean, Alvarez did, and I think people want to stay in Houston, but Kyle, like some people said in chat, Kyle Tucker may be the next guy to leave. I don't want him to leave. I want him to be Astros player forever. He's becoming one of my favorite players, but the Astros cannot pay everybody. That's
You're
the
right.
problem with having sustained success, is you cannot continue to pay the players, and especially with the way the market's going right now.
The Astros have proven, Eric, that they don't have to pay the players and still have success,
Right.
Mark, go ahead and throw up that Robert Krebs comment there about Tucker not signing a legit extension. He says, if Tucker will not sign a legit extension, trade him. Don't lose him for nothing, like Springer, Correa, or Cole. See,
You're chasing a World Series. You're not going to trade
no, I
your
know
best
that.
player.
But
I get
I
what
do
you're
want to
saying, though.
address that because that's something that people say. Well, look, if you're not going to sign him, and at the end of his career he's going to be gone, or at the end of his rookie deal he's going to be gone, then why don't you trade him for something? It's kind of like people saying, well, why don't the Angels just trade Ohtani? Good Lord, you would get you would probably get the entire team, an MLS franchise, and a hockey team with Ohtani. I mean, he's got a huge price tag. But I understand when fans go to that, why they say that. It's because they've seen these players leave and us not get anything in return. Now, but I guess my only counter to that, Eric, is this. While that seemed like a good idea on the surface, like you said, our deal is going. I mean, we're trying to go back to back. So you're not going to trade Tucker right now. It wouldn't make any sense to trade him
Right.
right now. Maybe when he gets closer to his deal, when he's got maybe 1 year of control left, But then again, why would you do that with a player like that? Maybe they can make a deal with them. They've made deals with Boris clients in the past. I don't think he's a Boris guy, but I'm just saying they've been able to deal with the sharks in the tank. So let's stand pat. But I do not like losing Tucker for nothing. I'm
Right.
I'm definitely not on board with that.
All right, let's go and switch from Madris. I know that he's going to be the next Astros superstar, and he's going to be number one in the Astros outfield depth chart pretty soon. But I do want to look at the catching options because we do know that Martin Maldonado is the Astros' primary catcher right now. He battled with a sports hernia for most of the season. He dealt with the broken hand for most of the season as well. And so, what happens if Martin Maldonado gets hurt or is not able to play? You have Corey Lee and Yainer Diaz. Both are great young prospects. Both have not proved anything at the major league level. Do you go out and get one of these three names? I want to answer from you, Brett.
Okay.
Yes or no, or which one of these three guys you would go get? Gary Sanchez, Roberto Perez, or George or Alfaro?
Why not Omar Narvaez?
He's already
I
signed with
think.
Mets, dude.
Oh, he did? Okay, because it says
Yeah.
he's a free agent. Oh, okay. All right.
No, he's the
Then
starting catcher for the Mets. Remember, they traded James McCann because they have him now.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You're right. Then Spotrac did not Spotrac did not update that on here. You know what? I'm gonna go with George Alfaro. I don't want Gary Sanchez. He is, unless he's 2017 Gary Sanchez behind the plate. I mean, at the plate, like hitting wise. But I don't need an offensive catcher. I just need a catcher. I just need a guy to
Right.
catch the baseballs and throw it back to the pitcher. I'm sorry. I'm not in this hate Maldonado camp. Remember, Eric, I am a card carrying member of the Astros cult. Okay. I'm probably the founder of it. But you go out and you get someone, a veteran that can supplement who Maldonado is on the field, and you can still groom one of these young guys because both of them aren't going to be the catchers of the future. That's just a reality. It's not going to be Diaz and Lee unless
Right.
something terrible,
They
which I would
could be.
never wish this on anybody, unless, Maldonado just goes out for the year. And now you got catcher A and catcher B, or you just platoon them. Why not go out there and get someone that has some experience? Alfaro is 29 years old. He's a righty, both throws and bats right. None of these catchers are left-handers, so that doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, my guy is George Alfaro if I get any of those three guys. Now,
Right.
if Gary Sanchez could magically appear from 2017 season and be on a time machine and show up, then I would take his terrible defense with that amazing bat that he had in 2017. But I don't see that happening. Gary Sanchez even changed the way he caught, even changed his stance. When he would he started putting his leg out. He started positioning himself different behind the plate. He just is not a good backstop. And let me tell you, I grew up playing catcher as a little leaguer, and I know how difficult it was then. I can't imagine having signs, game strategies, game plans, spin rate, all that stuff, and having to manage that behind the plate. So that's definitely not if you sign someone, they've got to have some value. I think George Alfaro, he's not great, but he could help supplement that role, especially if Martin goes out with an injury. You don't want to stick a rookie in that position. But then again, how are these guys ever going to get experience if you don't give them experience, right?
We are the youth of a nation, and I think that the Astros should go ahead and let the youth of the Astros franchise
Okay.
just go and take over, and just let Corey Lee be the catcher to start, the backup catcher to start off with. Diaz is seen more as a DH first baseman in the future, and I mean, I'm not saying he's a terrible catcher, but I think Corey Lee is viewed more as a better catcher. Diaz is viewed as a better hitter, but we're not going
Exactly.
to see what's going to happen until basically, I think spring training is going to be an epic battle between the two young guys. And maybe they bring in some veteran guy just to be a fourth catcher, just to come in and offer some type of competition just to motivate the kids. Because right now, Corey Lee or Diaz, they know one of them has a job. But if you bring in a veteran, then you'd be like, oh man, this old guy is going to take my job if we don't do something.
E- Exactly. And I think competition is always good.
Right.
Some people hear the comments saying, well, if we get Martin Maldonado on some sort of a diet plan, look, dude, I'm saying this because
Stop.
2023, new year, new you. Hey, I'm on this train. My son and I worked out today, worked out yesterday. I started eating right again. I did my cardio today because we're doing weights tomorrow.
Right.
But what I'm saying is this, and actually this person brings up a good point. If you could get Martin Maldonado more athletic, especially after having the sports hernia, after having the broken hand, I mean, he wasn't probably able to do a whole lot of anything. If you could get him a little bit slimmer, I don't know, a little bit more agile, that might help his longevity in the season because we saw it last year, Eric. We were like, hold on, Martin, how many games in a row has he played? Like, why is Corey Lee not in there? Why isn't Diaz in there? And it's just amazing to me that they weren't willing to give him more rest last year, if you know what I mean.
Well,
But
well, you saw the defense kind of falter at the end, and I think it had more to do with the hernia, him struggling, and maybe just not having. I know. I'm maybe instead of going on a diet plan, maybe just eating something healthier, like maybe a Built Bar. So this episode is brought to you by Built Bar.
that's right, looking for a delicious treat, but you don't want to have all the fat and all the calories, then you got to grab a Built Bar. And you've heard me talk about it, all right? And I'm going to tell you a way to get these Built Bars without having to wait for the box to come to you in the mail. All right. Number one, it's wrapped in 100% chocolate, and it's basically a candy bar, but it's good for you. They have these flavors that are unbelievable: churro, peanut butter brownie, coconut almond. Need I say more? That's the tip of the iceberg. But this is a good iceberg. It's not like one that sunk the Titanic. This is a good tip of the iceberg. Like, there's more to it because when you're able to snack and when you're able to take in things during the day that have the macros that these things do, you're able to feel better about what you're doing throughout the day. Because some of us have a desk job, some of us don't get to walk around a lot. So why not grab a snack that's 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and 17 grams of protein? I mean, those are macros that even Jordan Alvarez can get behind. So right now, head to your nearest Walmart. That's right. Don't go to, I mean, you can go to built.com, but go to Walmart right now. Go to Walmart and, well, maybe not during the show. If you're watching live, wait till the show's over. Go to the pharmacy section, grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can get a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. And if you're close to a Sam's Club, which I could probably go a few miles down the road, there's a Sam's Club. Show them a Sam's card. You can grab a 13-bar box of hit flavors like brownie batter and churro. And trust me, go get your box and you'll thank me later.
Alrighty. So you know who needs some help this offseason? I mean, Billy Wagner is up for the Hall of Fame vote.
I was
And
thinking a player. I was like, okay, who needs help? I was like Phil Matan because we don't know if he's going to be healthy. You're like Billy Wagner.
I think Phil Maton's definitely going to be on the team. I think as long as he's healed and he pitches well in spring training, I would
If you
think.
didn't listen to Nolan Ryan's advice, you never punch the locker with your throwing hand.
Oh
So
yeah. By the way, I did watch Facing Nolan and finally, and it was really really good. And if
wait,
you have
hold on,
not
hold on.
watched it,
Wait,
yes,
finally,
yeah,
Eric, we had Jackson on. Like I thought you had already watched it. That was homework.
no,
The
just don't
assignment
tell
was
him.
due in 2022. Sorry, Eric, we
Well, I
can't
did
correct the
watch it in
grade book.
2022, so
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
didn't watch it today. I
Oh,
watched
okay.
it like last week, but I'm like, oh, it's on Netflix now. I can watch it now. So I just could never get out to the movie theaters when it was out. So now that it's on Netflix, but it was just really good seeing the insight. But let's kind of get back to the Billy Wagner situation. I know that a lot of people are saying that closers, it's really hard for a closer to get into the Hall of Fame. But if you look at what Billy Wagner did in his career, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And Scott Rowland right now, I know it's only 29% of the votes revealed according to not Mr. Thibs on Twitter. but Scott Rowland has 81.2% of the votes going his way. So he's likely going to make the Hall of Fame this year as long as people continue to vote for him. And Billy Wagner currently has 70.1%. So on the remaining ballots, which is about, he needs about 215 more votes, which is 77% of the remaining ballots. He needs a yes on that in order to get to that 75%. So hopefully people continue voting for Billy Wagner. I really think that this guy, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I
Finish your
mean,
thought.
just
My bad.
if you look at his stats compared to a lot of the other Hall of Famers on this list, yeah, his WAR is not up there. His WAR is a 27.7 when Scott Rowland is a 70.1, Todd Helton is a 61.8. But you have to look at hitters differently than closers. It's
Yeah,
a
but
different
he's a
thing.
closer. He only pitches 1 inning versus a guy
Right,
that plays 9 innings. That's not really, that's kind of apples and oranges, I think,
right,
there. But one of the biggest knocks on him is not his dominance in the regular season. You take his numbers and you post them next to Mariano Rivera's numbers, and they're very similar. Okay, strikeouts and everything. But then you go look at Billy Wagner's postseason numbers, and they're not good at all. I just can't. I can't sugarcoat it. I'm always positive on Astros, and it's not necessarily that I'm knocking Billy Wagner, but I think that's what's holding him back. Are his playoff numbers are less than stellar. He's got like an ERA, I think, over 10. I mean, it's pretty bad. His postseason stuff versus someone like Mariano Rivera, and I think that's what's holding people back. And it makes sense because if you're a clutch guy, if you're in the clutch moment, and this is such a difficult choice to make, I think, for closers and for Hall of Fame voters because they're closers. They have such a small role. And now they have a big role if they do the right things,
right.
but they're only there. They're in such a limited time. But my counter to that would be, but why would you penalize him if that's the position he plays? It's like the NFL not allowing a punter or a kicker in. Well, if they're the best freaking kicker in the last 20 years, put them in the Hall of Fame. If they're the best punter and they average 58 or 60 yards a punt, freaking, he had the most touchbacks or whatever, put him in the Hall of Fame. Who cares if he has a lesser role? That's not his fault. I mean, he, Wagner, here's an interesting thing. A lot of people thought that Mariano Rivera stole his walkout song from Billy Wagner.
Oh,
Billy Wagner apparently had it first, and Mariano Rivera, even after I think after he retired, he didn't even realize it was a Metallica song. He didn't even know what it was.
yeah.
So that's what's holding people back. I think Billy Wagner should be in the Hall of Fame. I think he did enough in the regular season. I don't know that postseason should always be the thing that is the deciding factor. But that is clearly what I think voters are quote unquote holding against him.
All right. So I think it's time as the show comes to a close to go ahead and introduce our new producer. We're going to figure out how to get him more involved with the actual show, get over some technical difficulties. But you've seen him on TikTok. You've seen him at the Astros parade. He's becoming a local celebrity. I want to introduce you to Matt Drew.
Mark Drew, what's up,
Oh, it's not
man?
Mark Drew. Sorry. My bad. Mark Drew. Sorry.
Yeah. Mark, man, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing real good, man. I'm seeing that a lot of people in the chat are enjoying the intro, so that makes me feel good.
Yeah, man,
Great
thanks for
show.
that. Dude, that was fire. So Mark, you because I interviewed you a while back, and it was
Yeah.
after your New York State of Mind parody song. Kind of just tell us a little bit about 60 seconds, like after that song blew up, the Astros contacting you, kind of how that came about.
So yeah, after that one, I just had to make like notes of every game, and then just like come to my studio right here and make songs about every game to keep the momentum going. And it was I'm not gonna lie, it was very exhausting, but the support I got was overwhelming. And right before Game 6, I'm literally about to head out to go watch the game. I get a call from the mayor's office like, hey, we love what you're doing. We would love for you to perform in the parade. Would you like to? I'm like, oh my God, that's insane. And so I was watching Game 6 with like kind of like I know something nobody else knows. So it was a lot of fun. It's been a fun few months.
That's awesome. Mark, thank you so much for joining. Mark is a huge Astros fan. He's a huge Houston guy. Literally been doing music, for 10 plus years. Has his own studio, very creative. I know you, didn't you recently have a concert?
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
so you
Uh,
recently had a concert. And so, you have to let us know, tell them where they can find you on Instagram.
so yes, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok. It's Mark Drew ACX. It's MarkDrewACX, like Houston, Texas.
Awesome. Yeah, y'all have to check him out. And if you're not following him, follow him. Dude, he's got some great songs.
Thank
You
you.
know, here's my question. Can you make us great singers?
Actually, yes, 100%.
I
We're
like to
doing
go
it,
to
Eric.
karaoke.
We're doing it. We're not doing karaoke. We're going to Mark's studio and we're gonna freaking do a Locked On Astros duet. It's gonna be
Oh
banging.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Right here, everything we need.
That's right. That's
Alrighty.
awesome.
Well, thank you, Mark. We'll go ahead and work you in a little bit more on the next upcoming shows. But thank you for doing this, and thank you for the great intro. And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and keep on subscribing. Go ahead and give us a big fat like while you're at it, and go ahead and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go ahead and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. Your team every day. And we'll go in and see you later.